She was a queen draped in silks and scandal, loved, hated, misunderstood. From the glittering halls of Versailles to the shadow of the guillotine, this is the life of Marie Antoinette. Born on November 2, 1755 in Vienna, as Maria Antonia Josepha Johanna von Habsburg-Lothringen, but history would remember her as Marie Antoinette of Austria. She was the 15th and penultimate child of Holy Roman Emperor Francis I and Empress Maria Theresa of Austria. Her education was typical for royalty. She studied music, dance, and etiquette. But her academic performance was considered unexceptional. Still, her charm, looks, and grace made her a strong candidate for a diplomatic marriage. And in 1770, at just 14 years old, she was married off to the French Dauphin Louis Auguste. In an effort to repair and strengthen the fragile alliance between Austria and France, two former enemies. Marie Antoinette's marriage to Louis was not just a union, it was a symbol of peace between two rival dynasties. However, when she arrived at the French court, she was immediately met with hostility and suspicion. Many nobles resented her as a foreigner. Despite this, she tried to adapt. Still, the couple's lack of intimacy for the first 7 years of their marriage became court gossip and public scandal. Eventually, they had 4 children: Marie-Thérèse Charlotte, Louis-Joseph, Louis-Charles, and Sophie. Finding comfort and purpose in their presence amid the pressures of Versailles, her marriage to Louis XVI was fraught and under intense scrutiny, but her children became her sanctuary. Tragedy struck repeatedly. Sophie died as an infant, and Louis-Joseph, the bright but sickly heir to the throne, passed away at just 7. Louis-Charles endured imprisonment and abuse during the Revolution, dying at age 10, while only Marie-Thérèse survived, carrying the weight of her family's shattered legacy through exile and a lifetime of hardship. Even as history remembers Marie for her opulence, it was her devotion to her children and the heartbreak she suffered losing them that reveals the queen behind the crown. At Versailles, Marie Antoinette struggled with the rigid protocols of French royal life. In an effort to reclaim control over her world, she withdrew to a private estate, the Petit Trianon, which Louis XVI gifted her in 1774. The Petit Trianon, a neoclassical hideaway tucked deep within the palace grounds of Versailles. Isolated from the rigid protocols and suffocating traditions of court life, she used this private estate as a personal sanctuary. She indulged her love of nature, gardening, and animals, keeping pets ranging from poodles to swans, and walking them through her private gardens. There, she entertained close friends, hosted lavish parties, and famously played at being a shepherdess, dressing in simple gowns and strolling through manicured gardens designed to mimic the countryside. But while it was her escape, to the French public, it symbolized just how disconnected their queen had become from the hardships of ordinary citizens. When Louis XV died in 1774, Marie Antoinette became Queen of France. She was just 19. With her new role came new scrutiny and a growing resentment from the French people, especially as the country's financial crisis deepened. While the kingdom teetered on economic collapse, the queen was seen wearing lavish gowns, gambling, hosting mass balls, and spending time at her private retreat, the Petit Trianon. Behind the scenes, she quietly supported charities, orphans, and hospitals, often without seeking recognition, revealing a compassionate side rarely shown in public. Pamphlets circulated painting her as greedy, manipulative, and foreign. She was dubbed Madame Deficit. She became a scapegoat for all of France's problems, even though she had little political power at the time. The most famous line ever attributed to her, "Let them eat cake," was never actually spoken by her, but it symbolized how disconnected she seemed from the struggles of everyday people. One scandal, above all, devastated her reputation: the affair of the diamond necklace. In 1785, a confidence trickster posing as a friend of the queen convinced a high-ranking cardinal to purchase a wildly expensive diamond necklace, worth the modern equivalent of millions, supposedly on Marie Antoinette's behalf. She had nothing to do with it, but when the truth came out, the damage was done. The public believed she had tried to buy the necklace in secret, and that she had manipulated the church to get her way. The trial was sensational, and though she was cleared, the stain on her name never faded. By 1789, anger boiled over. France was on the brink of collapse. Food was scarce. The king was indecisive. And the queen, once just unpopular, was now hated. That summer, the Bastille was stormed. The French Revolution had begun. The royal family was forced to leave Versailles and move into the Tuileries Palace in Paris, where they were essentially held under house arrest. Though fearful, Marie Antoinette tried to play a more active political role. She wrote letters, met with advisors, and tried to forge secret alliances to protect the monarchy. But it was too late. In 1791, she and Louis attempted to escape to the Austrian border in what became known as the Flight to Versailles. Disguised and traveling under false names, they nearly made it, but Marie was recognized by a postmaster who had seen her portrait. The family was arrested and brought back to Paris in disgrace. The failed escape confirmed the people's worst fears: that their queen would betray them to a foreign power. On September 21, 1792, the monarchy was abolished. France was declared a republic, and Louis XVI was put on trial and executed in January 1793. Nine months later, Marie Antoinette stood trial. She was accused of treason, draining France's finances, conspiring with Austria, and even incest with her own son, a charge so shocking and false. Her trial lasted just 2 days. The outcome was never in doubt. On the morning of October 16, 1793, she was led through the streets of Paris in an open cart, wearing a simple white dress, her hair cut short. Gone was the queen of silk and pearls. She was then executed by guillotine in the Place de la Révolution. She was 37 years old. Her body was thrown into an unmarked grave, but years later, after the fall of Napoleon, she and Louis were reburied in the royal necropolis just north of Paris, the traditional resting place of French royalty. And yet, the story didn't end there. Marie Antoinette became more than just a queen. She became a myth. Over the centuries, she has been portrayed as a villain, a fashion icon, a political pawn, and even a tragic heroine. Films, books, operas, and museums have all tried to capture her essence. Historians remain divided. Some argue that her extravagant lifestyle helped fuel the revolution. Others say she was misunderstood, an inexperienced young woman caught in the gears of history, vilified by propaganda and executed not for who she was, but for what she represented. Her life also reflected the cultural and artistic vibrancy of Versailles, as well as the pressures on women in power. She lived in a time of monumental change, when empires were crumbling and the old order was collapsing. In many ways, Marie Antoinette wasn't just the last queen of France. She was the symbol of an entire world coming to an end. So was she a villain, a victim, or both? Whatever the answer, her life remains one of the most fascinating and tragic stories in history. A reminder that even queens are not safe when the world turns against them.